Hey, how's it going, everyone? Sorry to make you switch channels here. There are some technical difficulties, but I guess that's something you'll always encounter on a first live stream or something. You know, it's to be expected.
Yeah, we're working on the streams, and we found a couple of different tweaks, which is why this is episode 00.
Double
not episode 1.
Not episode 1.
Yeah.
Speaking of episode 1, Star Wars episode 1?
Phantom Menace.
Yeah, it was a menace of a movie.
Ooh,
I mean,
that's a burn. Hey, prequel memes is going to be really upset about that.
Yeah, you know what?
Don't you badmouth prequel memes.
The best part of the prequels.
Don't you blaspheme.
Is this a CORSAIR stream or is this
Hey, look,
Star
man,
Wars
we got
stream?
a few minutes. We can talk about whatever.
That's true. What are you guys' thoughts on the prequels, the Star Wars?
Yeah, post it in the chat.
Yeah. This is the AMA. Ask us anything about the prequels.
Dooku versus Grievous. Who wins?
Dooku. I like Dooku.
Dooku.
Dooku,
I think Grievous has all the what have you.
Yeah, but he wasn't force sensitive. He's like blah 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 blah. You know?
Yeah, but he's like a human blender. He's like one of those will it blend, but is like a droid. Well, actually, like a cyborg, I guess.
Dooku, I don't know. I just like.
It's Christopher Lee.
Yeah, exactly. Christopher Lee. He's awesome.
Dracula in Star Wars is pretty rad.
or Sauron.
Yeah, that's true.
Sauron.
Should we actually start talking about our stuff? Eventually.
I prefer. Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, I love Star Wars, but sure, let's talk about CORSAIR stuff, I guess. Like,
okay, go ahead.
So, hi guys. Just to formally introduce you, my name is Kevin. I work here at CORSAIR. I'm part of the technical marketing team. I'm probably looking at the wrong camera right now, but those are the technical issues that we're working on. And joined with me here with me
on an ethereal level.
I'm trying to speak like Yoda.
Yes, don't do that.
Okay, meet with me, join me.
I'm George. I've been on a bunch of YouTube videos before. I've been around doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But anyway, we're going to do a stream real quick and do some AMA questions. But we are going to talk about 2 new products that we kind of launched in the past week or 2. And I think that we'll answer some questions about those products. And then once we get that all nailed down, we'll answer some questions about other stuff. So I'll be monitoring the chat and just kind of telling you guys who are swearing to stop swearing and be polite and courteous. And Kevin will be actually doing the factual engineering talk stuff.
Yeah, I mean, factual? Yeah. Like, no, as factual as possible, you know, no fake news here. Finger guns. Anyway, yeah, you guys, let's get started.
Right.
So we're going to go to the questions. We posted some questions in our community Discord for the stream, and we got some pretty good ones, I have to say. So we picked 6. 6 is a good number.
Well, first off, before we answer the questions, we should tell people what we're actually going to talk about first. So which product are we going to talk about first?
I like the Tarantino it, though.
We Tarantino and come back to it?
Why not?
So is there going to be a brutal murder at the end of it, like every other Tarantino movie?
I'm sorry, George. I'm sorry to break it to you.
The things I'm going to do. Right?
Yeah, so basically, you know, we recently launched a couple new products. We have the RGB 220T Airflow here, one of our newest cases. I personally think it's a fine-looking case. One of the major benefits of this one, obviously, airflow. It's in the name. It must be important, right? Yeah, so there's that one. We also have the, I'm going to step out of frame for a second and pull this in. This is the K57 wireless. We just announced this one. This one's pretty awesome. It has a couple of our new technologies in here.
New technologies include the Capellix LEDs and the Slipstream wireless technology.
Slipstream.
Slipstream wireless.
Slips through the air.
Or streams through the air. It both slips and streams, hence the name.
It's doubly fast.
What you really need to know is that Slipstream gives you wired level performance wirelessly, right?
Exactly.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So you're looking at sub 1 millisecond response time, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's really nice. You can literally, you plug the cable in, you unplug the cable, you won't even be able to tell the difference. Yep. Unless you're like the world's fastest typist, but in that case, you're too fast for wired anyway. So
yeah, and I mean, at that point, you're probably going to want cherry blues if you're a typist, right? You're
some kind of neural interface, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just going to have like little pads on my head, like just thinking.
Like Battle Angel Alita style.
Exactly,
like a cyborg thing.
Honestly, I actually really.
It was better than I expected.
We keep referencing movies here. I actually really liked Alita.
It was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Probably because Christoph Waltz is just in the movie, and that makes the movie better in general.
Christoph Waltz.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool keyboard. So the K57 wireless which, if you guys know our family product names, the K50 series is not mechanical switches, so these are rubber dome membrane switch, whereas the K70 and the K65, for example, are mechanical switches.
K65.
K65. Oh. We will discuss K65 eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, K57 is awesome. I think it's pretty rad for a wireless keyboard with Slipstream speed and Capellix LEDs. What's the benefit of Capellix LEDs?
Lower power consumption. You can fit more, and you can have higher density of LEDs, so you have like smoother effects. They're also brighter than standard LEDs. And really, if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty of it, typical LED packages take up a fair amount of space. I mean, it's still tiny when you're comparing it to your finger or something, but in the space of 4 regular RGB LED packages, you can fit, what, like 144 Capellix LEDs? It's pretty nuts because they put the LED directly onto the PCB instead of in a package, right?
Right. So you have, when you normally do an LED, you have a little, like a solder point, a little package on top of the PCB, and a little lens that holds it and covers it, and that actually provides, it dims the light slightly, and then the extra resistance causes heat and energy inefficiency. When the LED is actually mounted directly to the surface layer, then you save all that stuff. You get brighter light, you get less heat resistance and less electrical resistance, so you get more efficiency for the power side.
Higher heat dissipation.
Higher heat dissipation, because it goes right through the ground plane. So it's a pretty cool technology. Cornelius from the chat asked, or so he mentions that he tested this at Gamescom in Germany, which, by the way, hello to those of us in Europe and Germany at Gamescom, Cologne over there, where Stefan and all those guys are hanging out right now.
Does it smell good there?
I have never been to Cologne, Germany, but I understand the joke.
Do you think there's a perfume Germany? No,
I doubt it.
That was a joke, guys. I know my German geography, so
I don't.
My Deutsche geography.
Deutsche. But anyway, he did ask, though, if we're going to do a K95 with Slipstream.
A K95 with Slipstream? That would be pretty awesome. I mean,
the G keys and the mechanical.
Yeah, I mean, just to preface this, we don't typically talk about anything that might be in development or unreleased products or anything like that, but we did come out with Slipstream with the full intention of putting it into other products, and also Capellix too, so that could very well be a thing. But we always listen to community feedback, so if you guys want to talk about that either on Reddit, our community Discord, or just through social media channels like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're always looking at that. And in fact, we kind of scrape those pretty heavily. That's kind of one of the main duties that we have.
That's kind of our job. So our team's job, we run tech marketing, and basically we look on the internet and find out what people are saying about our products. And so if you guys like something or don't like something, generally it's our job to let other people know whether the internet liked or disliked this product. So your guys' comments from this YouTube stream and the comments that'll be on when we dump it on the How To channel later, we'll probably have a report that goes and is like, well, it turned out that the 5 guys from Russia really liked it, but the 2 guys from Hawaii hated it.
Can we talk about like some geographical differences as far as preferences go? Like, let's talk about cases.
Can we do it without being offensive?
Yeah. So we've noticed that our German market, they really like quiet cases.
Yeah, the Germans are very, very, very particular about quiet.
Right. So basically, when we think about German market, we think about cases that are going to have the lowest decibel output. So.
Yeah, we've actually, it's kind of a running joke internally about like every product line. When you look at the positive and negative comments and the pros and cons on every review, whenever we go to the German sites like PC Games Hardware or Computer Base or something like that, every negative, no matter what, is like, well, it could be quieter.
It's like 19 decibels.
This is a mouse pad. Like, it's literally a cloth mouse pad.
Exactly. I hear the
just scraping noise.
Maybe you shouldn't move so fast. I mean,
that's a good point.
Yeah, that's you breaking the sound barrier when you're playing. So.
Yes, exactly. They're so fast. The CSGO guys in Germany move super quick.
That's why you just play at 16,000 DPI, so you just have to...
So we had some questions from the Discord chat earlier on the K57, so I'll ask some of those up right now.
Awesome.
First things first, Maxim Korak, love from Russia, he says, with K57 we got wireless and updated RGB version of the older K55. Are you going to continue this with all of the existing keyboards? Love from Russia.
I mean, I think this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the K95 question, right? We did develop these technologies with the full intention of putting them into other products. And while we can't really say any specifics about anything in development right now, like with new products or whatever, we do intend to implement these in future products. But where that may be, we don't really know.
Yeah, there's nothing that could. There's nothing engineering-wise that would stop you from putting Slipstream on almost any type of keyboard, mechanical, rubber dome. You could put a Slipstream wireless on anything if you wanted to. And similarly with Capellix, you can add Capellix LEDs to any type of product. The real question is it worth adding that extra engineering cost and time and something like that?
Does it make sense? Like,
Right.
From a user perspective also. You know?
So, for example, someone earlier asked K95 wireless, right?
That, to me, makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense if you want a big laptop or a big keyboard with the macro keys and all the other stuff that K95 has, but you also don't want to have to plug in a wire.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you start talking about 10 kilo stuff, you know, like K63 or K65,
TKL.
TKL. Which, by the way, there was another question on this from let's see, Jonathan. That was a good name. Will the K57 get a 10 keyless version? I was expecting it to be said like everyone else's name, like Inactive 741 and stuff like that. Like Jonathan.
Duke Nukem 7412.
Exactly. Jonathan wants to know, will the K57 get a 10 keyless version?
Well, sorry, I was thinking about my days playing Duke Nukem.
We all are. We all are constantly.
Will there be a TKL version of the K57? That was the question?
Yes.
Again, I hate to hammer this home, but I'm going to be the Thor of legality stuff here.
So, okay, we all know we are not actually talking about actual product. We don't know anything about unannounced products, and if we do, we have to pretend we don't.
We're just kind of, like, honestly, we just kind of geek out about this stuff ourselves because, you know, like you guys, we're honestly users, gamers, we're modders. But as far as the TKL version of the K57, you know, we can't mention any specifics, even if we did know them. It is a possibility. Again, give us your comments, your feedback in the chat on Discord, on YouTube here, through Facebook, Twitter. We read all of that. If you're buying stuff on Amazon, please leave a review. Let us know. You know, give us your feedback on that too, especially if you're buying something.
Especially if it's a positive review.
Yeah. You know what?
4 or 5 star reviews are great.
2 stars and lower.
1 or 2 stars, just email me.
Keep it to yourself. You know what?
Don't put it on Amazon. Just email me and I'll take care of it for you.
My parents always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, no, you know, they never said that. I was just lying. But some people have said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. My parents didn't follow that, I don't think. But we won't go into. Anyway, let's move on to the next question.
Okay, one other question we had was. Yeah, I see the streaming looked like it locked up on mine. What is the range on K57?
The range on K57, so for all you metric elitists out there, we're looking at 10 meters range or 33 feet for Imperial swine. I'm sorry, you're not swine. It's just Imperial.
Americans.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, it's American. I mean, come on, it's like us and like one other country on the planet that care about that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I guess the UK knows both. If you say 10 meters or 33 feet in the UK, they all know what you're talking about.
Well, the thing with the UK is like they even have different, you know, gallon than
they have
the US gallon.
They have stone and things like that.
Oh, it was a fortnight ago.
That was not.
No,
good,
it was okay. No.
But yeah, the K57 has a 10 meter range, which is funny because the actual question, in the phrase of it specifically was, will we be able to take it everywhere we require?
I mean, that's really subjective, right? Everywhere I require may not be everywhere George requires.
Yeah.
I was kind of making a joke earlier that I have a 1,000 square foot bathroom.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and you know, it goes everywhere I might require. But it also depends on like what device. Like how far do you want to be away from that device? You know, I mean, sometimes it doesn't make sense to go.
It's long enough. It's far enough that you can be in a really good-sized living room and sit on the couch and have your PC on the TV and still have. I mean, 33 feet is a giant living room for at least for me in the Bay Area. That would be staggeringly huge.
Right.
That would be like a multi-million-dollar home here. It may be that if you lived in like Indiana, you can afford that house, but not here.
Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, it really depends on one person's requirements to the next. Like if you have a huge theater room and you wanted to use it in there, but then again, I mean, if you're going to have a theater room like that.
That's a good point, actually. It doesn't matter also on the kind of number of objects in the way, right? So if you have like a giant steel wall in between you and your PC, it might reduce that range slightly.
Exactly.
But generally, yeah, about 10 meters or so.
Generally, there's ways to mitigate that, though, right? Like you can use a USB extension and then put the dongle on there. That way you can, you know, extend the range a bit in a way. So.
Okay. And let's see, is there any other K57 stuff before we move on? K57, 10 keyless, 10 range, wireless, blah, blah, blah. Will there be a version of K57 with mechanical switches?
K57 and K55, the two membrane keyboards that we have, they are a category of their own as far as keyboards go. So if you're talking about a wireless mechanical keyboard, that's kind of the gist that I'm getting from that question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, you know, we always look for feedback. If that's something that we get enough support for in our community, then that's something we could definitely seriously look at.
Yeah. So we're going to look through the reviews on that, because we send these products out for professional reviews too. So we'll go to the review sites and see what the comments on the review sites say. So if, you know, for argument's sake, we go and see a review site in the UK or something, and I don't know, for hexus.net or something says, we reviewed K57 and it's great, and then all the comments like, oh, I would have bought it today if it were mechanical, I'd pay $10 more or whatever, then we'll give that feedback to the product management team and they'll decide, yes, clearly the guy in hexus.net in the UK wants to buy a mechanical K57, so here comes K77 wireless.
Personally, you know, it's no secret that I love the K65 Rapid Fire. Well, maybe it is a secret because you guys don't know me.
Yeah.
I mean, is it
Yeah,
really
it's no
a secret?
secret.
It's no secret.
The entire internet is aware of Kevin's penchant for
Exactly,
10 kilos keyboard.
No, actually, personally, I would love to see a K65 Mark II SE wireless. That would be the bee's knees.
The bee's knees.
Yes,
All right.
business.
Any other questions for you guys on the keyboard stuff before we move on to the 220T? Is there any plan to update K55 wired with the same improvements as K57?
I mean, really, the improvements from the K55 to K57 come with those new technologies, Capellix LEDs and the Slipstream wireless. So, I mean, K55 is going to be the wired version, as far as I know, and you know, we're not going to put wireless on something you still have to plug in, you know, hardwired. But if Capellix makes sense for us to do that, I mean, any kind of feedback that we can get from that, you know.
One of the guys mentioned that the default spiral rainbow animation that we have is the Mac loading ball.
Is the Mac loading ball? I mean, yeah, it makes
ball.
more sense to use a Bluetooth keyboard on your iPad or something, right?
It actually, yeah, it would work really well on an iPad or iMac.
Yeah, so let's talk about connectivity, actually.
There
We
you
haven't
go.
really touched on that. So Slipstream Wireless, with this chip in here, you can hook it up to two different Bluetooth devices or the 2.4 gigahertz Slipstream. Now, Bluetooth does differ a little bit in terms of bandwidth from the Slipstream. Slipstream is where you're going to get the fastest speed and response time, so that's what you'll probably want to use for gaming. But if you're just typing up a blog on how much you hated this live stream, then you can just use...
Actually, don't bother.
Yeah, don't bother.
know.
You have nothing nice to say,
Yeah.
don't say it at all.
No, we just talked about that. Let's be courteous. No bullying, you guys.
Yeah.
Be best. So the other question was right here. Can you use a wire for the wireless keyboard?
Yes, you can actually. So there is a micro USB port here. This acts as a charging port, but then when you plug it in, you can use it through hardwire as well. So.
Okay. Also, we should talk about battery life.
Battery life. So this one, if you don't have the RGB LEDs on, you're looking at 175 hours.
175 hours is
A
it's
lot.
like 7 days, right? Like 6.5 days, 7 days,
That's
something like that.
many days. 175 divided by 24.
You're the engineer. I went to advertising school. I don't know.
Screw it. no, I mean,
6 would be, let's see,
yeah,
120
that'd
plus
be
24, 144. So yeah.
why are we saying it in
168
unison?
is 7. So 168 hours
Yeah.
is 7 days.
Okay, yeah, so it's
so
over a
over
week.
7 days.
Over a
Over a week without the RGB
Over 1 week.
of battery life.
Of battery.
What if the RGB's on?
If RGB's on, you're still going to get a staggeringly lower amount of battery life.
Lower life.
But that's because you have diode,
Right.
like 3 diodes per LED.
35 hours.
Yeah.
So over a day, about a day and a half.
I was about to say it.
About a day and a half. About a day and a half if you have it in RGB mode. So basically, if you plug this in at night when you're done gaming or whatever, and then unplug it in the morning when you're using it, you'll be fine forever. Like, unless you're on some like marathon
So, yeah.
StarCraft kind of
I was
internet
just going to
cafe
say
binge
that.
session.
Yeah.
It's too soon.
Well, what? Oh, wow. So I personally actually do like some 24-hour live streams for Extra Life.
Yeah.
And so for me, if I wanted to use a wireless keyboard, like let's just say I'm playing some casual games on the couch or something, having over 1 day of battery life would mean a lot to me because then I wouldn't have to like plug in, but because I don't take breaks during those 24 hours. You know?
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about how I get through the 24 hours.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Let's
Yeah.
not talk. Let's work safe stream. Brandon Lewis, with more Slipstream products coming, will they all work on one Slipstream dongle, or is it per device? Will it interfere at like LAN parties with multiple keyboards and mice?
So Slipstream Wireless, one of the main benefits of Slipstream is that it has channel switching technology. And that's one of the things that helps it retain that speed. So essentially, Slipstream, you're going to send out 2 redundant signals. Whichever one gets there first is the one that's taken, or the packets or whatever that are taken, and then those are the ones that are used. So even though there might be some sub-frequencies that are crowded, Slipstream is going to do that channel switching to see which one is the least crowded frequency
So it's
there.
specifically designed for crowded RF situations.
Exactly. So, for example, at CES, we actually had one of our CORSAIR 1s hooked up probably, 35 feet away, 30 feet away. And we were playing FPS shooter on that one with our Harpoon wireless. And CES, if you've ever been there, you know how many devices are there, especially wireless ones, between Wi-Fi, which uses 2.4 gigahertz, other phones, anything that uses that 2.4 gigahertz band, there's going to be a ton of interference. And the Slipstream wireless Harpoon wireless that we have performed admirably.
Yeah. I think that the other comment was, is it one dongle per device or is it multi-device per dongle? At this time, to get the full Slipstream speed, you need to use a separate, the micro dongle, which I don't think we actually have. Do we have it here with us?
Yeah, that's actually
Yeah,
another
right here,
feature.
yeah.
So this keyboard has a tiny little spot to store the dongle. So if you want to take this to go.
Yeah, so this tiny little dongle is for this specific keyboard. If you have a Harpoon wireless, it has a tiny little dongle like that as well. That is something we are looking at in the future, is creating a dongle that would be able to use all the different devices off of, at full Slipstream speeds off of a single dongle. But as of yet, we don't have that available. But it is something we've heard people already asked about it at CES, so it is something we're looking at. But right now, the main thing we're trying to do is maintain that high speed. So we want to maintain that wired speed, and in order to maintain wired speed, having a dedicated and very specific dongle for each device is required right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, ideally it'd be like, hey, let's get one big dongle and just have everything connect to it. Calm down. All right. Any other? Okay, let's see here.
Yeah, unification. I think ultimately that's the goal. Because you don't want to have to occupy or populate all the USBs in your computer, especially for those of you maybe running a MacBook that has one USB-C.
K57 wired with per key RGB. Someone asked for that. Can't talk about unannounced products, but you would not be the first person to ask for something like that. Let's see what else we have here.
Oh yeah, that is actually another thing. So K57 has per key RGB.
Per key. So this does have this. Among the many advantages this has over the K55 is per key RGB, Capellix LED tech, wireless, which is the big one, Slipstream wireless, and overall in general, it's a superior keyboard. Which is there's a price premium for the wireless and for the Capellix and everything, but it is a better keyboard just about across the board.
I wouldn't consider myself a mechanical keyboard elitist by any means, but I do prefer that. But actually having used this one and typing on it, it feels really good. Like it has a nice tactile feel. The domes are kind of like really have a real sharp feel to them. So
yeah, it's not one of these cheap like $10 rubber dome things. It's actually pretty substantial. There is someone asked us if we're going to do an Xbox style controller like some of the other guys have done. We have no ability to talk about unannounced products at this time. So even if we were planning on doing that, I couldn't say anything about it. I wouldn't hold my breath on it, but I also we'll keep an eye on it for sure.
Yeah. Again, community feedback is key, right?
Yeah. If you guys, if there's a, I don't know, a change.org petition to set it up or something like that, and like we demand a Xbox Elite controller from CORSAIR, and we will clearly pay for it. And then we can take that to marketing upstairs and say, hey guys,
would we make
probably
it
do this.
Yellow?
I mean, I think you'd have to have for what iCUE, right? You let them change the lighting.
Making it green would be kind of
don't make
tenuous
it
for us.
green.
No, please, no.
Not at all.
No.
All right. Any more keyboard questions before we move on to the 220T? Hello. There's a lot of hellos and heyos in here.
Hi.
Hi's.
Hi.
Did we talk about Capellix yet? Yes, Tracy, we did.
We did, yeah.
We did talk about Capellix.
Actually, no, we haven't.
No, we did.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I was like, wait, was I not here for this? No, but
you started questioning, like
I was like,
gaslighting
hold on
you.
a second.
No, George, we haven't.
Damn it, Kevin. Capellix, by the way, first Capellix product we ever launched was actually Dominator RGB. So the Dominator RGB Platinum has Capellix LEDs in the memory. which is really cool because you can fit multiple LEDs in a really nice little area there, so you can actually get really nice diffusion and the lighting and stuff like that.
It just brought me back to the conversation we were having before the stream. We were talking about how some products can have Capellix but not Slipstream and vice versa.
They're not tight. It's not like you have to have both together. You could have a Slipstream non-Capellix product or vice versa.
Yeah, Dominator Platinum, you can't get those in Slipstream.
Yeah.
Wireless RAM.
No Slipstream Dominator Platinum at this time planned.
We can't talk about unreleased products, but there's not going to be wireless RAM in any time in the future, I think.
Right. K57 split like a Ergo.
That would be cool, but I think that would present some challenges that maybe I can't speak for the engineering team or the product manager, but I just feel like it may be one of those things that they're just kind of like whatever about tackling.
I think it's a market share thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like left-handed mice, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that you're limited to 1/6 or 1/10 or 1/16 or whatever it is of a population that care about that already. So it's a small segment of a small segment of a small segment, and like anything, if there's enough demand, then sure. But the main problem with split keyboards is we have to prioritize. We don't have endless engineering resources, even in the massive behemoth galleon ship that is CORSAIR. We don't have endless engineering resources, so we have to prioritize stuff.
Yep.
And so, we look at what's the best thing we could spend the 10,000 hours of engineering time for this product or whatever on, and we focus on that based on what we think user demand is and user preference. So yeah, it's not like we could not do a 10 kilo split keyboard or something like that. That's certainly not impossible. Other guys have done it. The question is, what's the priority? And so we'd have to look at all that stuff.
Yeah, so from a business perspective, you just have to look at it from what kind of what you can get back from that, because you don't want to have a huge loss in like millions of dollars for a few people to be. I'm not saying that we don't want to make everyone happy, but we just have to balance it out. So
yeah, we have some questions here. Corsair motherboards? No, not at this time. We don't talk about unannounced products, but don't hold your breath right now.
What about fatherboards? I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Daughter boards, son boards,
nephew boards,
cousin boards.
Water boards?
No. Okay. We also get the question, I'll head this off at the pass. We get the question, when are you guys going to do your own graphics card? And probably not anytime soon. We're not going to compete with, Asus and all those guys selling a graphics card right now. We did sell a couple here and there. We had a co-partnership with MSI. They had their Seahawk, and we had a graphics card that we sold for a while that had a Hydro Series cooler pre-installed on it. Mm-hmm. We've done that before. Some people have asked us, when are we going to sell a graphics card with a Hydro X, like XG7 block pre-attached to it, for those of you who have seen the Hydro X blocks. We're looking at that. It's something that if you guys are crazy stoked about and want to buy one right now, then absolutely let us know, and we'll put that on the roadmap and make our buddies put that on the list of things to sell.
I want to kind of touch back on the whole, not wanting to get into that market with like Asus and MSI and all them making graphics cards, because again, we have to look at how much market share we have or wouldn't have if we got into that market, and how many resources we're willing to put, and also we have good relationships with these companies too, so it's like.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no reason to try and recreate the wheel sometimes, right? So I mean, don't get me wrong, if we threw every resource we had at making the world's best graphics card, I'm pretty confident we can make the world's best graphics card. That sounds arrogant and pretentious, but that's how I roll. But I will say this, that I think that right now, our efforts are best spent kind of growing the categories we already do. Mm-hmm. So, for example, coming up with products like this, or upgrading cases, working on better coolers, better fans, and better everything, so that next month or 6 months from now, you guys will have a better product for the stuff that we're good at and we know how to do now. Really, when you expand into a new category completely and you come up with like, hey, Corsair is going to start selling Hydro X custom water cooling. The reason we did it is because we felt like nobody was really doing it well enough to meet our standards. And it wasn't like, oh, well, let's just sell a block. Like a lot of guys get into the industry and they sell like a GPU block and a CPU block, call it a day. We felt like, look, if we're going to do it, let's do everything. So we put the pump and reservoir and the tubes and the fittings and the radiators and stuff. And some of that stuff is internally designed, and some of that stuff is sourced from really high quality partners, and that's all kind of put together in a full product list, along with what we thought was the biggest problem, the configurator.
Exactly.
So right now, if you want to build a custom water cooling system, you basically, before 6 months ago or 3 months ago, you really had to know like a lot about custom water cooling.
Right.
You know, 14 millimeter or 12 millimeter diameter, hard tubing,
diameter, outer diameter,
inner diameter, outer diameter,
you know.
has a thickness of the wall. What type of coolant are you going to use in this type of tubing? So we figured, look, let's solve that problem. So you go to our configurator and you plug in your case and you tell them what motherboard and video card you have, and then it just tells you, hey, this is what you should buy, and this is how you could upgrade to better version of that. So if you want hard tubes, you print hard tubes, and we give you the list of everything, how many fittings even. So I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
And that configurator is pretty unique, and it's pretty robust compared to everything else.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it does solve that problem where it just, you know, water cooling for the masses, like that was kind of our goal, right? So we wanted to make it more accessible to everyone. We wanted to give them a kind of a one-stop shop solution because there were these bespoke options, you know.
Yeah.
But again, it boiled down to people like scouring forums for more information, trying to go through like YouTube, watch tutorials and things like that. And we just wanted to make it so much easier because, you know, we build systems all the time. We build water cooling systems. Everything from top to bottom, right? And so we know the plight of people trying to build these custom builds.
Right. So we do have a question, speaking of water cooling, Alvin Maniago, I guess? Maniago? I can't pronounce that. Sorry, Alvin. Will there be new HG10s for GPUs and distro plates in the future? For those of you guys who don't remember, the HG10 was basically a way to hook up a Hydro series, like an H50 or H70 or H80 to a GPU. Like we did it for 970s and 980s. I think that I would not hold my breath on that since we have Hydro X series now for the full blocks. It is always something we're looking at, but I think the real answer is that we found that the guys who are interested in taking the heatsink off their $1,000 graphics card and replacing it with a block would much rather do custom cooling than plug it into a $50 like hydro cooler or a $100 hydro cooler.
That makes, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
So.
Let's see here. What's control of my Asus GPU with iCUE at some point? Cornelius would like to control his Asus GPU with iCUE at some point.
I mean,
Asus. Cornelius would like to control his Asus GPU with iCUE.
Let's sync.
He does not want to use Aura Sync.
Yeah.
He would love to use iCUE to control his Asus GPU.
Yeah.
For those of you guys who are watching the stream from Asus, please let him know that Cornelius in Germany would like to control his Asus GPU with iCUE.
Wait, hold on. Does Cornelius, hold on,
let me get this right. Far superior software.
Cornelius wants to control his Asus graphics card, his graphical processing unit, with iCUE software, not Asus Aura Sync.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you?
And I mean, on the other end of that, we've developed some integration into Aura Sync so Asus can control Dominator. Yeah, I mean, but let's.
You can change the colors.
But yeah, let's
you can't
control,
do what you can do with iCUE.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Like,
in fact, I tell you this right now. If you own Dominator Platinum RGB or you own Vengeance RGB and you have an Aura Sync motherboard, use the Aura Sync software, change the lights on the memory, see what you can do, and then download iCUE and see what you can do in iCUE to the memory and see how effective that is.
There's a wealth of cool things you can do on there. So.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see what's going on this. Asus is watching. Listen up, Asus. Look, everyone's talking to Asus. We're going to screen cap this and send it to the guys at Asus.
Asus, we love you.
Is that a no for distribution plates and reservoirs as well? We never say no. We just say we can't talk about unannounced products, but your question is heard, Alvin, and I will pass it on to some people.
It's on to some people. They may not work at Corsair, but he's going to pass them on
I will
somewhere.
pass it on to a number of people. George looks tired. Ryan, you're correct. I am tired. I've looked tired since I was 5. There's nothing I can do about it.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's talk about the 220T.
The 220T. What is that again? I'm kidding.
That's one of these
I'm
deals.
joking. Yeah, it's one of these guys. So the 220T RGB Airflow case, again, as we touched on at the very beginning of the stream, but for those of you who are just now joining us, is one of our newest cases. We just launched it, 3 weeks ago? We just announced it 3 weeks ago. You may have seen me in that video talking about it. Basically, one of the biggest benefits of having this case is the airflow that you can get with it, because the front has a lot of holes here for the fans. We know some reviewers, particularly Gamers Nexus, they talk about airflow a lot.
Steven, Gamers Nexus.
Burke, yeah. They talk about airflow.
And other people, but specifically Steven.
Yeah. So anyhow,
and rightly so, I should say.
No,
Steven
I
should be considered with
agree,
airflow.
Yeah, because you don't want just like a hot box,
Oh, dude.
What? I mean, unless it's a different kind of pop.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
It's legal in California.
yeah, we're in California. We're in Fremont. Okay.
Exactly.
So the front here has a bunch of holes on it for better airflow. Obviously, you have the 3 fans, and we didn't really. It was kind of a soft launch, but we have the SP RGB Pro fans in there now, and a new device called the Lighting Node Core. So the 220T came out with this cool design on the front. Also, a way to remove it is just to use these little sockets. It just pops on, pops off.
But the best part about this is that is metal.
Metal.
That is a steel front panel. The whole case, for the most part, is metal except for the little plastic frame that holds that. But everything's metal and glass. So this case feels really premium. It's really solid build quality.
Yeah, and it just snaps back in super easy, so you can get access to that air filter.
So metal.
It's so metal. Yeah, it's like I was gonna say Metalocalypse. I don't know if anyone's watched that.
I watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah.
We keep referencing like film and
Yeah, from like
cartoons.
10 years ago.
Yes. So Lighting Node Core SP RGB Pro fans. The difference between the SP RGB Pro fans and the standard SP fans of yesteryear.
Yesteryear. Yeah.
Yesteryear. So
Yesterweek.
there are yesterweek. Anyway, there's 8 LEDs in the hub of the SP RGB Pro. So it gives you smoother lighting effects on the fan. Just like we were talking about with the Capellix LEDs before, the more you can fit in a spot, the smoother the effects will be. So,
Yes.
but this.
So, one thing real quick. Someone's asked this question 3 times, and I want to answer it before we go too far. RGB PSUs. I just wanted to say before we go off the rails.
I mean, do you see this? Do you see this PSU shroud here?
There is a question. Are we going to be doing an RGB PSU? We cannot talk about unannounced products. If you really like RGB PSUs, please let us know. We'll pass it on to the PSU team, and they'll throw some lights in a power supply and call it a day.
Yeah.
We have, by the way, done an RGB PSU in the past. Actually, RBW, I guess, because it's red, blue, or white was the color scheme it was. But if you look up the old GS series, we did an LED power supply back in the day. So we did do that before. So it wouldn't be, unheard of for us to put LEDs in a power supply.
Right. Yeah.
But you did bring up a good point. With all the permanent power supply covers, a lot of our cases don't really offer direct access to view the power supply. But if you did put it, like maybe down firing, you get an underglow into your case or something. It could be cool.
It could take us back to Fast and Furious. And
Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
But this 220T, like you mentioned, I think this is one of my favorite cases we've launched in a long time.
Yeah.
That front panel, I'll be honest, like initially I was skeptical about the design because it's super kind of different from, it's not just a straight mesh. But it's grown on me a lot. I like the look of it, especially in white with the lights behind it and stuff.
From a personal perspective and for modularity, like the fact that it can just snap on, snap off, like I would love to see something like maybe other designs or something like that we could put on there, like so. Yeah.
I think that I like that front panel because it's easy to get to the dust filters. It looks clean. It's made of metal. I'm a big fan.
He loves metal.
I do love metal. I'm a
heavy
metal
metals
fan.
like lead.
Heavy metal, like the old comic book.
Oh yeah.
And,
I love
the movie. If you ever get a chance and you're over 18,
exactly.
Watch,
I was just gonna say it's
watch
the
heavy metal cartoon that came out in the 80s. It's awful, but the music is rad.
It's not awful.
It's pretty awful. Doesn't age well.
Maybe I need to watch it again.
Yeah. Back to this though. One of the things that I like about this, so this is a very compact ATX case. This case is actually very small. It's not going to be the case if you want to run like triple Titans and 6 radiators. This isn't it. This is the case for most of you guys who are going to put a single graphics card, single CPU. You want to put a 360 up to a 360 Radeon like we have here. You can put a 240 or 280 in it. You can put anything most people have in their cases and cool it really, really well. And have a nice premium desktop system, but without taking up a huge amount of desk space.
Yeah, so I have a 680X on my desk at home, and even though I have like a really big like L desk, it still takes up a pretty sizable portion of my desk. And sometimes, I after this one came out, I really wanted to build into it because of that compact form factor.
Right.
And the fact that you can fit a 360 millimeter radiator in the front, that's huge.
Right.
So
especially you can do like any of our Hydro Series coolers fit in this pretty much. But like we have an H150i Platinum in there, right? Pro in there, sorry.
If you want to fit a 480, just set it on top and put the hoses outside.
Yeah, run the hoses out the back. It's fine. But this is basically like kind of 2/3 of a 680X. If you just cut a 680X, 1/3 of it off, you get the 220T effectively. So it's a pretty nice thing. Judas Priest metal from Ryan Dibben. Out of all the metal bands, Judas Priest.
Priest.
Like, I mean, that's all right. Rob Halford's pretty good. Queensryche? You talk about like Megadeth,
Yeah,
Cannibal Corpse? What are we talking about? All right.
Pantera.
This is now a metal podcast, not a video podcast. All right, so let's see. Correction, 220 will be on the table is H150i Pro 360mm cooler. Yeah, so it is a 150i Pro.
Yep.
Dominator Platinum RGBs, a 2080 Ti, it looks like.
2080.
Well, there's an 8-6, right?
Yeah, just 2080.
2080? Okay.
Yeah.
So Elgato 4K 60 Pro probably in there. Looks like a bunch of other cool stuff. That's a Z370 board, so we haven't updated it to Z390 yet. But
oh, speaking of the 4K 60 Pro,
right.
I mean, Elgato just announced the 4K 60 Pro Mark II. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually what's in here.
Well, that does HDR, right?
It does HDR pass through too.
And it's smaller than the previous one.
Yeah, so if you guys are familiar with the Elgato products, we are all one. We are the whatever.
We are all one.
We are all one. This has become the philosophy podcast.
Welcome to Kevin's Chat Hour.
Chat Hour on NPR. So anyway, so the 4K 60 Pro Mark II is about the same size as the HD 60 Pro, which if you know the two, that old 4K 60 was pretty big. It was like about the size of a small book or something.
Sound card, yeah.
Sound card, yeah. I don't know. See,
For all the old dudes who remember sound cards.
Yeah.
It's like a SCSI card for your optical drive.
Stop it, George.
Throwing way back in the day. Going old school.
SCSI.
Serial ATA, parallel ATA.
Thank you for saying serial ATA, not SATA.
220T questions from the Discord chat. With 220T, Corsair seems to have went for a more high airflow design on their case. Will Corsair move to even higher airflow cases with mesh fronts? That is from Inactive 101.
Obviously we can't speak on any future or products that may be in development, but again, airflow is a big thing for us that we want to take into consideration because that will help keep your components happy by keeping a fresh supply of cool air.
Yeah.
However, if you're thinking about, I guess if you want to get down to it, like fluid dynamics, you want fans to be as close as possible to that mesh to really draw the air in. Because if they're a little bit further away, there's going to be too much resistance through that mesh, because just the nature of mesh. So we have to take that into consideration for when we design how close that front panel is to those fans.
The optimal performance you get is if your fan has very limited space before it is intaking cold air and very limited space before it's blowing the cold air across the hottest components. Mm-hmm. So you can see in the 220T, if you look in the front, it's right up against the mesh, and then it's literally an inch away from your graphics card or 2 inches away from your graphics card. So you're actually pushing a lot of cool air directly from outside the case right onto the graphics card. If you make this case an inch or 2 inches or 3 inches longer, that actually will hurt performance slightly, unless you find a way to get that airflow right on top of that GPU. Yeah. So unless you keep the fans in the same location and the intake in the same location, stretching that out a bit will negatively affect performance.
And I mean, you may only be talking, a few FPS when you're playing a game, but I mean, that could be potentially the difference if you're playing competitively, right?
Right. When I play competitive Overwatch, I maintain my silver status by keeping that 3 or 4 frames a second. I want to stay above 320 frames a second at all times on my home system.
I just close my eyes when I play.
You play like Luke on the
exactly. I put my blast shield down, and God, Star Wars, it just keeps coming back.
Yeah, well.
Star Wars, great.
It's like a fine wine. It turns into vinegar if you wait long enough. The other thing, can you fit custom water cooling in the 220T? If you believe in yourself, Ryan, all things are possible.
We do have there is a custom build out there with all our HydroX stuff. Science Studio on YouTube actually did a HydroX build in the 220T. So if you guys want to go over to his channel after the live stream, check that out.
Yep.
That one's pretty awesome.
Yes, you can put HydroX build system in this. We have seen it done. The one challenge will be the pump reservoir combo is pretty physically large. So for the XD5 that we currently have, you'd have to find a way to install it very carefully in the system. There's not a pre-mount built for it in this. However, it is possible. Someone has done it. Mm-hmm. It would be nice if someone were to do a smaller pump res combo that would fit in here easily.
Yeah.
That sure would be a good idea.
That would be great.
What a great idea that would be.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
If someone
were to do that. Someone also asked, please think about bringing Corsair Air CPU coolers back.
Just the silence. Well, actually, that's something you don't get with air coolers, right? Is silence. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I mean, yeah, obviously, if you have like a 4,000 millimeter fan
Look,
in there,
there's a saying that old car guys, like muscle car guys, like, right? Which is there's no replacement for displacement,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So when you're talking, let's use one of our competitors for an example, like a big Noctua or Be Quiet cooler. You're literally talking like 3 pounds of copper and aluminum and metal. And yeah, that's gonna cool pretty well. It's a big hunk of metal. It takes up a giant amount of space in your case, and it mounts to the motherboard. They're very heavy, they're very big, they're very cumbersome, but because of the physical size, it's much bigger than this typical radiator, sometimes they can actually have some benefit. So yeah, we look at that. Will you bring air cooling back? We'll look at it. We'll keep an eye open on it.
Again, give us your feedback,
Yeah.
community feedback. Look, we want me to go through all the channels. Go Discord, YouTube on the comments here,
Yep.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know, any community that you're a part of, that you like to be on, that you follow Corsair. Give us your feedback on the products, you know, on
Right.
any of the posts, because we do look at that. We look at all of it.
Yeah. So the 220T there. Will Corsair make pudding keycaps for the K70 Mark II? Be cool on your pudding keycaps. Those are some really nice PBT keycaps. Oh, which by the way, someone did ask earlier, when are we going to have official PBT keycaps, double shot? We do actually. So someone asked this question. You can go to our website and you can buy the PBT keycaps.
They come in white and black.
White or black. They're double shot. They
Shine through.
They shine right through. They're really nice keycaps. They're also included on the K70 Mark II SE edition, the white and silver version. They already have the PBT keycaps on it.
Which is a great deal, because the
Yeah.
PBT keycaps themselves are retail $50, and then on the Mark II SE, K70 Mark II SE, you actually just get them with it. And
Yeah.
I think the premium for the K70 Mark II SE is only 30 over the K70 Mark II, or maybe even less actually.
Yeah.
So
But pudding style keycaps where you kind of have that, it looks like flan, right? It's kind of the
Yeah.
surround and then the top.
I love typing on flan. That's my favorite thing to do.
My flan caps. But I don't know why I thought they looked like flan. They just kind of do.
No, they do,
But,
because the caramel on top.
Yeah, but I guess
You're not
flan,
wrong.
I guess pudding is more universal. I don't know. Anyway, I do like the pudding keycaps. I think they look pretty cool. We'll ask the keyboard team upstairs and see, hey, if you guys are going to put together a next-gen set of PBTs, maybe some with not just white and black, but maybe a double-shot white and black combo like the puddings or the semi-clear opaques.
Yeah, that'd be
That's kind of a nice thing. I don't know that we have any plans to do it anytime soon, but I'll ask. We also had, are the 18 macro keys ever going to return
The 18 macro keys. I mean,
for the K90?
yeah, I mean, that's, again, any kind of feedback. If there's enough feedback that's garnered, then that's definitely a consideration we can make.
Yeah.
But
I mean, really, you should just buy
a Stream Deck.
Stream Deck.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
Stream
buy a
Deck has,
Stream Deck.
what, 15 keys?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
5, yeah. So,
Or Stream Deck XL, 32.
yeah, I would buy, personally, I think that if you have a K95 and you like the 6 macro keys and you really want more, man, I'd go buy that Stream Deck pretty quick.
I would just actually get like 30 Stream Deck minis and put them on stands so it looks like I'm in some sci-fi like cockpit. I don't know. That's just me though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you get anyone to talk to you outside of work. Let's see what else the questions were. Why do white products have to come with cooler included stuff about a black PSUs with some night black custom cables? Oh, so we did white PSUs that come with the white individual sleeve cables. He's asking for a black on black version. All right, Ryan, I'll ask the PSU guys. There's no reason that it has to be white. We did white because special edition stuff, a lot of guys like special edition white stuff. If you don't like white and you want a special edition black, I'll mention that to some people and we'll see if we can do it.
It's kind of funny, like when you talk about like the colorways of different products, right? So back in the day, everything was kind of that beige tan tone, and you know, then everything kind of went to the black. Everyone was like seeking the black stuff out, and now like everyone's like, oh, I want like a white keyboard, you know. And personally, again, K65 white, that would be awesome for me. I would love to see one of those.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Would you like a white K65 rapid fire, like a K70 Mark II SE, but a K65?
Yeah. There is another question. Is Kevin married? Smiley face.
I am not married, although I do have a lovely girlfriend.
Yeah, she looks exactly like you.
She doesn't look exactly like
She's
me.
about, like, shorter.
We have very similar.
And female, yeah.
We wear glasses. We have dark hair.
Yeah.
That's,
If you ever see a girl who looks exactly like Kevin just kind of meandering around, just ask her if she knows Kevin. Chances are she probably does. You might have a sister or something that looks like you too, I don't know.
I don't think my sister
Do you
looks
speak
like
Portuguese?
me. Do I speak Portuguese? No, I don't.
CORSAIR tem K57 RGB.
Oh, I thought that was a question. I thought
coisa boa de fazer. I don't know what that means. I pronounced that horribly. I'm sure it's awful. But sorry.
just pull up
Diogo.
Google Translate.
Let's see what.
Speaking of Google Translate, if you go to translate.google.com, you can.
Yeah. Sponsored by Duolingo.
That little owl reminds me to learn my.
Is
German.
CORSAIR going to do a motherboard? No, we covered that in the first part, Diogo.
Yeah.
Probably not.
So yeah, probably not. It just, I think, yeah, it's
All
a
right.
whole market share thing.
Yeah, probably not. Not in the. I can't say for sure not. Maybe one day we will, but probably not. All right. I think we've said. Okay, we got lightning round. We're going to close out here in just a minute. Last minute questions. Anything, any topic, open. Add extra Mac keycaps with mechanical keyboards would be greatly appreciated. That's not a question, but okay.
Can I put something out there? If you guys want a K65 Mark II SE that looks like the K70 Mark II SE but 10 keyless, can you put an F in the chat?
Own an original K70 Lux and a Sabre RGB. Those didn't receive firmware update for years now. Is there any planned update on those? I don't know if there's a planned update on them yet. Generally, we don't do a firmware update unless something is broken and needs to be fixed. Updating firmware is potentially risky. You can break it, you can lose power in the middle of it, you can break the entire product. So there's that. Mini ITX case.
Mini ITX case. So basically our smallest case right now is the Crystal Series 280X. And so that one can fit micro ATX and mini ITX. You know, that one, it's a dual chamber design, so you can keep it looking very clean on the inside. And I know, like with smaller builds, you can get a little bit cluttered in there because you know you have so much stuff.
Yep.
But if you combine that with our SF series power supplies, which are extremely tiny
And available up into platinum efficiency.
Platinum efficiency, which is kind of unheard of with that power density. Yeah.
Question, another lightning round question. Where's the best place to buy one of your PCs? I assume they mean Corsair 1. Or a Vengeance gaming PC right now?
Our website.
Our website,
Corsair.
you can buy them direct from Corsair.com. You can buy them on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
If you mean one of the Origin PCs, which is our system integrator in Miami that we recently just acquired, Origin sells direct on their website. You can go to Origin PCs and configure anything you want, and they'll ship it to you. I believe that's North America right now, but I could be wrong on that. Let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Plan on getting some more RAM. Are they plug and play, or do we need to download drivers for them? You do not need to download drivers for RAM. Plug and play. Plug it in. The system should automatically detect it.
Yeah.
If you have any problems at all with RAM when you install it, contact us. We'll help you out. We do it all day long.
There are specific specifications that motherboard manufacturers and memory manufacturers go through to make sure those work just out of the box.
Planning on increasing the merchandising products for Germany. He loves Kevin's jacket, but he can't get it in Germany. That
it actually lights up.
Yeah, that jacket isn't actually for sale anywhere. That one is would you get that from Latin America?
Yeah, so I went to a Brazil game show last year, and Jackie, our Latin American, what's her title? Manager?
She's the director of sales.
of Latin American sales. She actually, I was just following Dre's.
Dre's our director right now.
Yeah, no, Dre, I'm not. No, I'm just gonna zip this back up.
All right, let's see. So that's that. K95 with soft wrist rest wants to put our soft wrist rest. Please launch the Corsair SP2500 successor. SP2500s were a really decent set of speakers that we did, a 2.1 setup. Actually, I still have mine at home, even though they're 12 years old or something. They are really, really high quality, like Klipsch level quality. We'll look at that. I don't know if there's an audience for it, but we'll see. And Dixie has a magnetic puck. I think the thing for winding the headphones.
Yeah, for your headphones.
Do we want to make a magnetic puck? Yeah, we can make a big round piece of plastic that's got a magnet.
But what about
on
the
it.
CRT monitors and hard drive discs that are out there?
Well, whatever, yeah. Strictly mini ITX, something smaller that's only mini ITX. We'll look at it, but mini ITX market isn't that big. Generally, micro is much, much bigger. So if you do micro, you make the case a little bit bigger, but you do have a net pick on that.
I know there are a bunch of us here that would love a mini ITX.
Are the batteries dead in that jacket?
Okay, so this is EL, electroluminescent wire, and if you've ever worked with that, you know that it's kind of fragile, so if it bends too much, it can break
You broke it?
Yeah, so it only lights up at the bottom here. I got too crazy during one of our videos. No, I don't know what happened, actually. I think I just sat down in it.
They're asking you to show the light up jacket. They don't believe you. No.
Actually, if you go to one of our videos.
Oh, that's right. Which video is that? Where you're boogieing in
at the very end of it, I have it lit up.
Was that the power supply?
The first Ryzen build video that I was in on this channel.
Yeah.
You can see me. I'm like pointing to my ear or something. Like, can you hear that?
Will there ever be a high-quality headset like the Sennheiser ones? That's an excellent question.
I don't know, but
That is an excellent question.
what do you think? I mean, I feel like you would have to, in order to really get the quality, or like you'd have to be a super audiophile, and like you'd want to listen to like virtuosos of
Right.
like
Totally agree.
of classical music and things
Absolutely.
like that. So
You would really,
yeah.
you'd really need to test it with something like that.
yeah,
for sure.
exactly, because you want to get all the mids, highs, lows. You want to hear the crisp neutral sound.
Right. You'd want that. You want something with a really good broadcast quality mic, memory foam ear cap, something like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it is.
Good idea. Let's see. Community wants a Corsair fridge. That's me, actually. I'm the Corsair fridge. Let's see. Entering Discord. Hyper Cloud Orbit S competitors. Yeah, already on the way. Sennheiser is greater than Bose. Oh, that's your guys. You guys have that fight. I don't care. A lightweight, under 85-gram mouse from you guys. Super lightweight mouse. We will talk to the mouse team. We know, by the way, that there's a hugely popular, wide number of guys buying things like the Final Mouse and all those
And
super
yeah.
like mesh mice that are really ultra lightweight. So we're aware of that, and the demand is there. So we'll bring that attention to the PM guys.
Yep.
Cheapest desktop you sell? I honestly don't know off the top of my head. It's probably Vengeance
Yeah,
5180
Vengeance
or something
PC,
like that. 5185 maybe. But one of the Vengeance 5180 is probably the cheapest one we sell.
We do have a few different SKUs of that, like with different graphics cards and things like that. So, you know, if you go to our website, corsair.com, and then look through the systems, you can see which ones we have on there for sale. And you can just
Make a
do the
Corsair
link.
light bulb. Okay, that's fine. We'll do that. K95 with soft wrist rest. I will let people know that you want a soft wrist rest for the K95. Astra A50 SteelSeries Arctic Pro wireless from Corsair. Yeah, we'll look at that. Corsair coffee machine. When? No.
I want that.
Yeah. Well, we all
I
do.
mean, why'd you say no? If we all
Oh,
want it.
look, man. It's
We
about
the hive
prioritization.
mind
We
at
the hive
Corsair.
mind. A Corsairig.
A Corsair, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys
yeah.
for watching our first stream.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate you guys coming by. Again, my name's Kevin. I'm with Technical Marketing. We're hoping to maybe start this up.
Yeah, so one of our producer in the background asked you guys if we were going to do this show periodically and regularly. Should it be a weekly show? Should it be every 2 weeks? Should it be a monthly show? We want to be able to answer questions and talk about new products when they come out.
Exactly.
Answer your questions about the new products when they come out. Kevin is probably going to host all those shows since he's, technically strong and incredibly good looking as well.
Wait. I put my thumbs up right when you're saying that. I
Can
don't know
we
if I
screen
can
cap that with a subtitle? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a great time, night, whatever it is.
Afternoon.
Wherever you are,
Yeah.
have a great
Morning.
spherical Earth.
A great sphere.